There we go.
Okay. I think we are live, and it is JVozet, and we are at show number 71 of the JVology show. And I am here with my dear friend Michelle. How are you today?
I'm so good. How are you? It's so good to be here.
I'm pretty good, and I just had breakfast delivered, so I might put you full screen and eat for a moment or two, just so you know.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yes, it is. And in my case, it's damn near lunch. But on that note, a couple of things, gang. I got to give you a little preamble so you know what's going on and how this works and all that fun, wonderful stuff. For those of you who do not know, my name is JVozet. I am the founder of JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. And JVology is a community, a training organization, a coaching organization that helps entrepreneurs redesign their business models so that they get a steady stream of free leads at the front end through their JV partners and recurring passive income on a consistent basis through their JV partners by doing one thing, and one thing is committing to solving their clients' problems better. And not just by themselves, but by a team of people that really get what it means to serve clients, understand that we are all on this journey, and just because we solve one problem, that doesn't mean they're gone. In fact, every problem solved creates 5 to 7 new problems, which we just want to be able to help our clients with better. Do this in a bunch of different ways. This JVology show is one of them, where we share community members like the brilliant Michelle with other community members in the world. We have a program called JVology, a 3-day experiential full-on event, which we do online, obviously now with COVID. And there's a link in the chat if you want to find out more about that. But that's a place where other entrepreneurs looking for JV partners, and we teach you how to do it, how to do the invitations, all those things. And then we have a ton of other programs like our global lounge that people from all over the world come to meet, find out how to set up their businesses for JVs. And then we do consulting, coaching, retreats, high-end summits, all those sorts of things that all do the same thing: help you get partners to get message in front of the right people. Which, on that note, brings us to our topic today, which is visibility, using video, using your voice. And Michelle is freaking brilliant at that. Two other mechanics, and then Michelle is going to teach us and tell us, and we're going to talk about a variety of fantastic things. So number one is this: we share these videos all over Facebook, but you need to be on the broadcast page to be able to interact with us. So if you want to ask Michelle or I a question, if you have anything going on in your head and heart about visibility, and let's be clear, you should, because it's getting noisier and more staticky and more crowded, and you've got to be able to figure out how to stand out on your own. If you do that, you need to either click on the video you're watching or the little JVozet tab or the little JVozet link just above it, and it'll take you to the broadcast page. When you do that, then come over and in the comments, say hello. Tell us where you're from. If you have any questions, you ask them, we will answer them, I promise. And then the last thing is, I need to play my little video because I like my little video. That's if I can get my mouse to do what it is supposed to do. And stick around, gang, and come back, because Michelle is brilliant on the topic of video visibility and all other things about being seen and heard. We'll be right back. Oh. Okay. I have a funny delay on my end today. I'm not sure why. I'm going to try that again.
Yay.
It's not quite long enough for me to get a full bite in.
Hey guys, we're back. Jay's chewing, and here we are. Oh, I love that.
Exactly, you are on. So give us the 5,000-foot view of who you are, what you do, how you serve people, because I just think your topic is so perfectly timed for this COVID work-at-home world. I'm just really excited to have you here and for you to share.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. The 5,000-foot view is, feeling so called, a little tiny girl who just wanted to sing with the angels in the church choir. And I had every opportunity, and the moment came where I'm in my white sheet and my silver tinsel halo, and I'm going to sing with the heavenly host, and I'm overcome with inexplicable terror. I flee to sit on my grandma's lap and become, of course, to recreate that over and over and over again in my life, a professional performer. And I go to audition after audition, and I begin this journey of overcoming my fears, this inexplicable terror around being seen and heard. And that for me involved a long journey of a pretty desperate low bottom, because holding myself back and stifling stuff was really painful. And I did some all manner of addiction stuff to hold myself back. But that gave me this gift of desperation. And in my early 20s, having this awakening and this spiritual experience where all of a sudden I had a whole psychic rearrangement. And
by the way, that's a great phrase.
yeah, and I was really intervened upon, and that calling came back to life very quickly. And a part of that was that whole songs would drop into my head, whole songs, right? And I was like, there's no way I can share them, because when I tried to do that, even from that little age, all through high school, through college, being a professional singer, trying to be, I was overcome with this visibility terror, couldn't speak, cried, mouth went dry. So with this awakening came my understanding that I needed to overcome this visibility thing. That was my journey, my real journey. So I'm 5,000 zooming forward, 20 years. I did finally reclaim my voice, and it was a spiritual process. It was a professional process. It was, there was a lot involved. And on the way to that, I had always been really called to teach. And so I had performance studios in New York City for 10 years, and then here in Portland, Oregon for another 10, where I was helping other people free their voice. I worked with people on Broadway who were actors and singers, or actors and dancers, but they had to sing too. So I did a lot of work around singing and freeing the voice, and developed a lot of tools around that. And I discovered my favorite were the people who were like, I don't sing. I don't know why I would ever do that. But they felt called to be expressed, to have their voice, to, 75% of people have a fear of public speaking. And so I got very curious about, and had a lot of awakening through, I was a yogi and lots of processes, and had some very mystical experiences around freeing my voice. And that led me on this journey of helping other people to be fully self-expressed, to find their voice, and to step up and stand in that thing that they're called to do, whether it's singing. Not everybody wants to do that, but maybe you want to build a business, or we all have a message. So I got very connected to curiosity about the human voice and presence, and how do we show up, and fast forward, began building a business online to help people who feel called and have that inexplicable, like, oh my gosh, deer in the headlights moment around video, or around standing and speaking and standing and delivering that thing that's so personal to them, so that they can free that message, because I really think that's what we're here to do. How is that for a 5,000 foot Zoom?
That was perfectly awesome. So, and of course, my brain goes to some of the, well, I don't know if we want to call them the weirder things, but the intriguing things to me. So is there a short version of one of the most mystical experiences that you had with your voice? Because I really think that, I'll you go.
Tag. So there's so many ancient wisdom teachings around sound, and that the universe was born in sound, right? We have I am the word, and the word is God, and the Aboriginals talk about singing into creation, and many, many other modalities. Om is the universal sound. The Big Bang Theory, highlights from my upcoming book, which I haven't started writing yet, but it's coming.
Awesome.
Right. Led me to this yoga was a big part of my that transformation I spoke about. It became a go-to spiritual practice for me. I became a yoga teacher, and so in my early days in yoga experience, I had a Kundalini experience that involved my voice. And so I was on the rocks in Bar Harbor, Maine, doing yoga, and I had these primordial weird ass sounds just come up out of me and really clear and create a whole new energetic rearrangement of my voice. It was pulled up out of me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. I wish I had a video of it or something now. It was before we were videoing everything, but it was profound. And I felt the whole musculature and the cells of my neck and throat change and were sore afterwards. It was a really weird, awesome experience, but it put me back together in a new way. So that's one of them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm fascinated by this, and I mean, it's not the whole purpose of our conversation today, but so I have been speaking professional, facilitating, which is different than speaking, but bottom line, making my living with my voice since I was 21. I'm always amazed because people will come and say, it's like, so I just need a little advice about so like what happens, like how do you manage your voice, and how do you like what happens when you lose your voice, and like all the, and it's like, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea. I have never lost it. I have never done anything for it. I drink a lot of coffee. So I always feel like I do a disservice to people when they ask, because I think somehow, some way, that was just always meant to be for me, and I don't know how else to say that. But I've always felt like I don't know what to tell people in that circumstance. So anyway, that was on my list to ask you. So awesome. So when people are trying to take care of their voice, because I'm always like, send them
to me.
Exactly. So what are some of the hints around that? Yeah. And this would be for somebody who's a pro, who's talking a long time, or somebody who's just trying to get out the first couple of words.
Sure. Well, those two different suggestions there, but one thing that'll work for everybody. First of all, I think I agree with you completely, like intuitively and energetically, Jay, that your channel was, you were open to speak, like you knew that was part of who you are, and so that's just freed up for you. I would say that that's really, really true. When there are things we can do with our voice, and I've had the privilege of working with people who had facial reconstruction surgery or like really big stuff going on, and there are ways that we can use the voice and little games we can play that help us to not get overly tired, right? And so one really simple thing everybody can do if you're really scared, and if you're speaking a lot or going into, for example, a 3-day event where you're going to be talking a lot, is simply just to warm it up, right? If you're feeling stressed out, and the nerves and the tension and the pressure of doing a 3-day event or teaching, if there's some nerves, if there's like a lot of, or you're just juggling a lot of plates, that stress can make you tired. So it's pretend you're 3 years old and make a sound like a fire engine, and that'll warm up your voice, right? Your voice is a muscle, and muscles are strengthened with use, right? So your voice has been talking since you were 21, for long extended periods of time. So there's some strength there. Most of us, the muscles of the voice get developed in a certain range of speaking, right? Yeah. So there are games we can play with how we place the voice and how we aim the voice, and smiling a little bit also helps your voice lift up. And sometimes when we're tired, or we get, and women and men both do this, we lower our voice to kind of feel more power, and that can really wear your voice out and make you tired. But we won't go into a whole voice lesson. There's lots of tricks you can do. Sing, woo, siren, play with your sound. That also, to our topic of visibility, Jay, when we've seen these beautiful teachers around like taking up physical space, like make your body big to get brave. When you add your voice to that, you actually expand your energy body. So if I warm up my physical body, your voice is part of your body. So do move your whole self is really, really powerful, especially before going on camera, especially before standing on stage. Yeah. The tools that I learned as a professional actor have been very helpful. In helping other people to do that, because you're building a business, you're doing an event, you don't necessarily think about the performance of it, right? But that is part of being highly visible. So
I love that. Sorry, I was just going to say, you reminded me of something that I totally forgot about utterly and completely.
Yeah.
Which I think obviously got ingrained in me, that whole thing about practicing using the voice. So when I did my facilitator training program, it was a 30-day program, 24 hours a day, fundamentally. It's like we were on call. It's like, this is it. It was like the original Survivor. There were cuts like every week, all the rest of it. But one of the things, one of the ground rules of the course was that if ever anyone in that entire room had to say, pardon me, is that we had to agree how much money we put in. I think mine was $5. And it was like, if ever anybody says, pardon me, it was like, you pay $5. And that it sounds like a silly game, but it was just that whole piece of, if you're going to speak for a living, you goddamn well better be heard. And if you can't be heard, then frankly, you probably can't do this. But it was an interesting and expensive game for some.
That's like military boot camp, man. That would shut me up quick. If I had to, speak up. Yeah, and that was ingrained in you. So there it is, and it's powerful to warm up your voice. So just to finish that visibility thought and the voice thought, we take up physical space. We can get as big as we can. I'm spreading my arms, but you can't tell. I'm stretching my hands out. Here we go. Yeah, so we get big like this, and and then we can also add our voice to that. So woo, right? When we add the sound of our voice and we spread our arms wide and we take up all the physical space we can and the volume, the vocal space that we can, it is, first of all, it warms up the muscles of your voice, which is so important. And it actually, so if you think about sound, moves matter, right? If you have a smooth bed of sand and you blast a speaker at it, the sand moves. There's some really cool videos about sound, cymatics on YouTube, where they have different musical instruments and frequencies, music that make water turn into corkscrews and sound move, right? So if you're big and you're going to take up space and say, I'm a leader and I'm a speaker and I'm here, and you let your body warm up and get really big, and also your sound, the vibration of your sound clears and tones your own energy presence, your energetic presence. That's what we're really talking about here with video and speaking, right? And it warms up the muscles of your voice, as well as all of the energy, the airspace around you, right? It opens up your energetic bubble. It's really powerful stuff to do.
I love that. Very cool. Okay, so let's dive into visibility. So, and I'm just going to share my contextual frame. I alluded to it earlier. But if you are in what I'm going to call the digital marketing or intellectual property business, so you're a coach, you're an author, you're a trainer, you got a digital course, you got something you want to share with the world, you want to communicate, you want to take your life lessons and make somebody else's life easier, more joyful, blah, 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 blah. That marketplace, well, and let's just put this in perspective. So I've been speaking in that marketplace since I was 21 years old. I am 53. Not my first canoe trip in any way, shape, or form. And I see a couple of trends, and there's another big trend coming, which is this space is becoming more and more packed, more and more jammed, more and more fragmented, more and more micro-segmented. There's more and more, quote, competition, if one were to believe in that.
Yep.
But the long and the short of it is this, is that with COVID, with the highest unemployment rate that we have ever had, with the changes of not being able to go out and about, and I'm from Canada, so that's oot and a boot for those of you who didn't catch it.
I was going to say, I was waiting for it.
Quite literally, we're going to have, this is my, silly predictions, but we're going to have empty malls. Yep. Because they can't sustain themselves. Yep. Anyway, what's going to happen is we are going to be driven back to a bunch of cottage industries, and one of the most lucrative / lowest barrier to entry cottage industries is sharing your knowledge and using the internet, your voice, your presence, your knowledge to make your living. Yeah. So what's already full is going to get jam packed. And part of the purpose of JVology is to try and help our community and anyone who wants to come join us to prepare for what's coming and to be one step ahead instead of 3 steps behind, which is, to me, why you're here, to help us get clear about this visibility piece, because nobody can buy your services if they don't know you're there, and they don't see you, they don't hear you, they don't know you, they don't get you. So anyway, that's my contextual frame about why I think what you're about to say is so damn important.
Picking up what you're putting down.
Okay, so talk to us about visibility and how you landed on that as one of your powerful topics in that particular niche, and then fill us in.
Fill us in. Broad, open questions. How much time you got?
72 hours.
72 hours. And go. Awesome. Yeah, right now, and I have been saying this for a couple of years, because the whole transformation industry, if you want to call it that, has been evolving, and the noise online has been building. But I agree with you 100% that the times are calling forward, I would say, people who I would call messengers, those of us who feel called. And my story, as we touched on, is that feeling of, I'm here to do this big thing. For me, it was connected to spirit from the very earliest age, and I was to sing with the angels, really. And what I know about today's visibility, and from the beautiful, amazing people that I've had the privilege of supporting and working with, is that many, if not all of us who feel this big calling often have that inexplicable deer in the headlights, pressure, body chemistry change, being observed, molecules behave differently under observation. We have this experience when we're talking about our message, our expertise, our thing, where we just have an incredible vulnerability. So that is what I because of that, we hold back, and there's some stuff around being visible. So that's how I got called to this work, because I was able to, first of all, beyond my wildest dreams, experience my own freedom. And even being here with you is like an example of that. I've been doing a lot of interviews, and I love to talk about what I do, but I still have a little bit of a heart rate's up. And there were times when it was around my performing career and me being seen and heard, where I really felt I missed many amazing opportunities that just didn't happen. So that's how I come to visibility, because of my own blocks and fears around being seen and heard, and the journey I've gone through in order to free them, actually getting to a point where I can now sing anything. I didn't know, without fear, right? I didn't know if that would ever happen. Right. So those people who wrote the book, I have one example that sticks with me. She's a woman who's, could speak for, I don't know, it was a big corporation in front of tens of thousands of people and present and promote and sell, no problem. Had this game-changing, life-changing awakening around her gut health, and wanted to be a coach around gut health. And every time she had an opportunity to speak at this high-level conference about her journey, and she would burst into tears. And I was like, that's what happened to me. So I've talked to hundreds of people when we're talking about our expertise, our thing, and we're saying, I'm a leader. This is what I know works. I can help. There's a whole bunch of vulnerability that goes with it.
Yes.
So how do we navigate that and then find the words and share them, step in to share our shit? Right? Like, to really unapologetically, wholeheartedly, enthusiastically, perfectly, imperfectly put our message out there, and know that we'll be able to grow into it and get more confident. The confidence comes in action.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's funny, in the facilitating world, I said, as I started very, very young.
You did. As did I. I was a yoga teacher when I was 22, 23.
Yeah, exactly. Which is an interesting circumstance.
Yeah, and I think I'm 53 too. So we, maybe we're twins. I don't know.
we both aged well, I think. But I do remember, I was probably maybe 5 years into it, and honest goodness, I put my whole heart in it. But it's like at 21, the range of experience is probably a little narrow and those sorts of things.
Sure.
But I remember 5 years in, it's like, man, if I could find all those people that went through those courses with me at the beginning, I should just go give them their money back. and at the same breath, it was like, obviously there was a purpose and a reason for them to be with me at that point in time, and all of the rest of it. But it is that whole piece of what you said. Somehow or another, we've got to get past the truth of, we all start somewhere, and that this is a process. And if we don't give ourselves permission to start, we never get to live into the gift, ever.
Yeah. So that's one of the first tools that I would offer for people that are listening that want to come through is, and this I learned again in that really low bottom place, and the transformation that happened for me afterwards, is that if you are even one step ahead of someone else, you can help them, right? And having the humility, I think of visibility. We are so afraid of being arrogant or cocky or judged, or how we're being perceived is one of the most, is the thing, right? We don't want to get kicked out of the cave. So if we can reach back and have have one person, save one person, one step, or one moment of encouragement, that is the place to start, and to be willing to be visible on behalf of the people that you can serve.
Yeah.
right? For those of us who have that real charge, that was what kept me moving forward, sometimes in fits and starts, because it felt so vulnerable. And then, for those of us who have that big charge, I think that it's not kind to try it. The thing that comes right after it is, what am I making such a big deal about? What is wrong with me? I just need to go make a video. They told me to just go do 20, 30 Facebook Lives and then it'll be fine. And that's not necessarily the case, right? That's kind of the hard way. So having some place, some way, a mentor, a guide, a community who can actually mirror for you your own greatness, your own possibility, that see you in a specific way. That's the methodology that I have in my programs I call transformative witnessing. It is how we are seen and being held that helps us to accelerate that confidence quickly. And when we can actually show up and share our message, and we have a few, there's some tricks of the trade, there's craft and art to how we talk about what we do so that people get it. Yeah. But if there's this huge veil or nervousness or be on the way to it, we can't even get through. So it's really powerful to be able to, find the thoughts, share the thoughts, and have our own permission to show up wholeheartedly. And that's what's going to help us rise through this noise, right? Is our energetic presence. You were going to say.
Well, I think we're about to say that same thing, which is, I've had the experience of somebody who is a clearly gifted, smart, has something going on that the world should know about, or that I want to know about, and yet they can't articulate their name, and it's like, oh, that's so sad. And conversely, on the other side of it, there are these incredibly polished and powerful speakers who it's like, I couldn't listen to you for 32 seconds because you're full of shit. And that alignment piece and transformational piece that you teach, that puts those elements together of authenticity and communication, is where I think the magic lies. So you have a masterclass coming up, yes?
I do. Okay.
Tell us about what's in the masterclass. Tell us who it's for, exactly what people will learn. I'm going to put the link in the chat so that people can grab it and check it out.
Great. This is unleashing your message. So you have a message and it's time to specifically, how are we going to get it out there? And I'm going to focusing on the platform of going live so you can get visible and attract and enroll clients. So if you are doing, as Jay said, the sharing your message, sharing your expertise, growing a coaching business, you're an expert, visibility is required, and being on video is really not optional anymore. So if there's a thing about it, we want you to have the opportunity to shift through that, because if there's that video, that vulnerability happening, then it's coming up in everything you do, right? So this class is going to be focused on talking about some of the common, the easy to make mistakes that we do that keep us from going live, and some of the blocks that come up, and how we can navigate and move those and get into action to move forward, and how to allow yourself to have that confident, engaged presence, so that when you're live or being visible, putting your message out there, it feels to you, it's as easy as doing the work that you love, right? So that your marketing and your messaging is an extension of your expertise, your coaching, right? And we build that bridge. And then I'm going to also introduce my the 5 steps that I use in my system to go live. So people will have some practical tools to get started, and more support if they need it.
Well, and what they may or may not know, I mean, here we are on Facebook Live, going live, having this conversation, all the rest of it, is that Facebook has a significantly preferential algorithm to live video than any other type of post. And if you're attempting to become more visible, a little bit of strategy in terms of using the algorithm that Facebook, frankly, puts in your favor, a little bit of strategic marketing in terms of retargeting, and a couple of bucks spent on one of these videos can add tens of thousands of views. And then we begin to utilize that in terms of driving to a particular event or process to be seen and heard. And all of a sudden it gets really freaking interesting and powerful.
Hi, James. Nice to see you.
Hey, brother.
It is so powerful. And there's a lot of reasons why I prefer live. The more consistent you are with live, that's another thing. People are like, I did a live, but nobody came and nothing happened, right? So being able to have your own like weekly system to do it, or however you're going to, I structure it a couple of different ways, but to be there consistently. And then also to, the thing I love about live streaming is that it avoids all that production value and the do-overs and it is immediate. And I believe that it's more forgiving and more powerful because people know that it's live. And it's going to be like, oh, wait, what's going on? If they catch it live, that's great. And even if they catch the replay, they're like, oh, what happened? Right? It's a very compelling form. And we can stream live across a lot of different platforms all at once. If you really want to reach and serve many people, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you're not doing it, then there's something you got to do to get your own permission, right? You're simply not doing everything you can to reach and serve everybody you want to reach and serve if you're not implementing the live streaming tool right now. And we love you, and it's scary and it's hard, but it doesn't have to be, right? You're among the many. So it's a really powerful tool.
Well, and I keep thinking of it from this perspective is that, what we're doing is like, I just get to have a bit of coffee and a nice chat with a brilliant friend of mine. And if some of the world wants to snoop in and discover what that's going on, yahoo! Like there's to me absolutely nothing more significant about this than if you were in Calgary and we got to sit out on my deck having this chat. Like it's
awesome.
Same thing.
By the way, my son wants us to move to Canada, so we may be there sooner than you think. We'll be on your deck. Hi.
It's an awesome spot.
Awesome. Yeah. And then there's the interview format is brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I've been doing a lot more interviews as well. And then there's that like, okay, what if I'm alone in my office with the little black circle that is so daunting and intimidating, and how do I just act natural? And because of my acting training, that's something that I can, it's not rocket science, really. And just a few simple tools make that a little bit more doable. So get this platform to share your message I'm a bit of an evangelist for it.
Which I think you should be. So the link is in the chat window there, and it is just something that everybody should do. I have, in fact, I'm going to tag
a friend. Thank you.
I'm going to tag a friend of mine, Brian, who I've been hassling about getting on his lives. Good God, it's got to be for a year and a bit now, and he's got his whole bedroom set up as a studio, but I still haven't seen him go live. So I am tagging him. It's like, just turn the goddamn camera on, brother.
And there's some tools that we can share to help you do that in a little bubble if you need a little practice too. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I will have to tag him from a different spot, I think, in terms of he's not on this page. But anyway, I will get him over there for certain.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I love to serve. I'm so passionate that every voice being fully self-expressed is what we're here to do. And that's, when we take that calling and we combine it with business and serving and prosperity flows in, that being able to simply fully trust and own who we are and what we're here to do and unapologetically share it is how we change the world. Being able to show up on camera is part of that these days. It's just the real deal. So I'm so passionate about helping people to do that.
Okay.
And because of my own fear around it, I hold a pretty unique space in order to help people to do that. I love Marianne Williamson's quote of, as we're liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. And so as you move through your fear around being on video and being highly visible, just the energetic presence again that you share transforms the world, the people who hear you, and it imprints on the video. It's a very powerful journey, and I think we're all here to do it. So
nicely put. Okay, so I will say my last piece about this, which is, and I think that you're much kinder and gentler than I. So I'm going to just be able to
kick me in the ass now. That works for some people.
but it's just as simple as this: is that if your business does not have the results that you'd like, or if you took a bit of a hit in the COVID entertainment, as many of us have, if that's true, then you've got to figure out how you're going to navigate breaking through and finding your tribe. And I fully believe, going back to, this is the visibility and the finding your own unique voice, as James has just put up there, is that, and I would say this a lot at the Mastermind to Millions community, which is that your tribe is waiting for you. Yeah. And you've got to plant a flag that they can see.
Yeah.
And what that means is your message, your voice, your state of being, your mission in the world, all of those pieces. If you can't plant that flag, they can't find you.
Yeah.
And the irony to anyone who's in one of these businesses is that if you're sitting there wishing you had more customers, the truth is there are 10,000, 100,000, there's 1 million people right now wishing that they could find somebody like you who has your unique experiences, who has your unique message, and who has the capacity to support. Yeah. So if there's a disconnect or a dissonance between those two things, then for the love of all things good in the world, go and do Michelle's masterclass, apply the 5 steps, and really put your ass on the line to be seen and heard. Because honest to God, whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you let it in or not, your unique tribe is waiting, and they've been waiting for a while.
And no one's going to put it together the way that you will. No one has read the same books and done the same things and had the same thoughts and overcome the same challenges. And so that if you don't, sing that song, whatever it is, it goes unheard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it.
You too. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you soon.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.